Today is Friday, March 3rd, and I am back for my stitching update. It's been the usual 2 weeks since my last one. So I hope you guys have all been doing well and that you had a great end to your February. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. My name is Olivia, and this is Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. This is a YouTube channel where I do primarily chat about my cross stitching as well as my quilting. However, if quilting is not something you're interested in seeing or hearing, I show it a little bit later on in the video, and I will let you know in plenty of time that they will be making their appearance, so that way you can go on to the next Flosstube video. And as always, if you're one of my amazing returning subscribers, welcome back. So how have you guys all been? Hope you had a good end to your February and that the first few days of March are going well for you. As you can tell from behind me, I have changed out all of the decor, kind of swapped out the winter for the spring. I don't really do a lot of spring decorating, just kind of like here and there. You know, I will, tuck something a little springy, but I'm still learning how to decorate. So spring is definitely another season that I need to work on. But behind me, I do have a brand new quilt. This one I finished in the summer last year, and I will talk about it in the quilting section of today's video. But the reason why I hung it up is I just felt like it had like those really nice spring-ish colors in them that I like. And of course the quilt is Civil War reproduction, so I love having all of these beautiful fabrics in one quilt, and I can just look at it and it just makes me so happy. The trench bowl also got kind of like a refresh. The bunny was swapped out with the snowman. So the bunny is from Liberty Creek Primitives. She has an Etsy shop where she sells the PDF patterns for bunnies and snowmen. I think she's got some Santas, and she's got just like a variety of various, little primitive style decor that you can make. The little bunny that's in the tree here, I do know that I found it somewhere on Etsy last year, and if I can think of it, I will link it down below. And then these little eggs that you see in the tree, I made those last year. I just kind of got a wild hair, I guess, to try to make some eggs. I think I had saw a Pinterest post or something where somebody had something very similar, and I decided to, try to create something. So pretty much this area here is probably the most decorated for Easter / spring, and then the rest of the house for the most part is the same, just Easter tucked here and there. So I think I'm going to go ahead and jump in, start talking about what I've been working on over the past 2 weeks. Last night I started back on All Joys for Thine by Blackbird Designs, and I think I showed this one in my last video as a new start. It was either the last video or the video before, but I feel like it was last video. And this is one that I have been, I've seen a lot in the backgrounds of other stitchers' videos. I've seen it on their sampler walls, and every time I see it, I just had this urge to work on it. And finally, I decided it's time. So last night I worked on it, and I was able to get a little bit done. But I do have this in my rotation for the next couple of days, so I'm hoping to get a little bit farther. So basically I just went in, there's some doodads like the flowers on the border I worked on, some of these little doodads up in here. I started stitching the words. I extended the border on the bottom, and then I started on the flower pot. I absolutely love working on this one, and I can't wait to work on it again tonight. I love the colors. Definitely a very spring palette to be working with, and I really, really love it. It just makes me really happy to be working on this. So I am stitching All Joys for Thine on a piece of 40 count Vintage Lentil by Lakeside Linens, and I am using the called for threads. Love, love this. I wish I had more Lakeside Linens in my stash, especially Vintage Lentil, because it's like the perfect sampler color. So looking forward to getting back to that one tonight. I did have a new start, and that is Florence Mary Dickinson by Hands Across the Sea Samplers, and this was a limited edition sampler exclusively for Hobby House Needleworks. And this is what it looks like. I do not know if you can still get this pattern. What I would do is go to the Hobby House Needleworks website and see if they still have copies of this available. I love this one so much. So I was able to work on it, and I forgot to bring the paper, but there is, I think there is a group online. I think it's a Facebook group, and they are doing this as a stitch along. And someone that is running, I'm guessing it's the person running the group, somebody took the sampler and broke it up into 12 parts. So they started it in January, so there's 2 parts done, and I'm a month behind, but I'm not participating in the sale because, you know, I'm a month behind, but I'm following their assignment. So I finished the first month's assignment, and that was just working on the border. I love this one so very much. So I am stitching this on a piece of 40 count sand by Picture This Plus, and I am using the Vicky Clayton silk conversion. And Vicky Clayton, she has the floss pack available on her website. Gorgeous, gorgeous colors. So I'm stitching this with Yvette and with Lisa. And so Yvette and I knew we were going to start this one, and Carol. So we all knew we were going to work on this one. So I'm stitching it with Carol, Yvette, and Lisa. So Carol, Yvette, and I, we knew we were going to start this one at some point. We just didn't know when. And then Lisa had contacted Yvette and said that she was going to start it. She was going to start it for her 59th birthday, which was February 12th. So Yvette sent me a message and told me about Lisa. So we all decided to start it in February. I was supposed to start it on the 12th, but other stuff got in the way and I wasn't able to start it until about a week later. But technically, I started on Lisa's birthday. So she is 59 and she's hoping to get this done by her 60th birthday. So fun. Anyway, so I'm glad that I was able to get the first month's assignment done. And then at some point in March, I will do the next assignment, which I believe it's right underneath the border. So I think that it is all this stuff right across here, I think. But looking forward to getting to this again this month because I love using Vicky Clayton silks, and I was really glad that I could use them again in another project. All right, next up is Spooky Countdown by the Primitive Hare. So it's been my morning stitch, and I wasn't able to work on it at all last week. So this week I picked it up and I got caught up. I fell behind, but I was able to get caught up. So that's good. I definitely do not want to fall behind again. So here is my progress. So this is week 9. So I worked on these 3 blocks right here. And that's what I worked on this week. And then I decided to just keep going. So I'm gonna work on this block tomorrow, and then through the weekend I would like to try to work on this. So I want to try to get a little bit ahead, and then I will go work on Keeper of the Pens. I love this one. So this is being stitched on a piece of 36 count jack-o'-lantern by XJUDesigns, and I am using the called for DMC threads. And I love it. Love it. Such a beautiful piece. Oh, I can't wait to have it all done this year for Halloween. My next one is Stacy Nash Primitives Halloween at Hollyberry Farms. So this one I worked on at the beginning of February, and then I picked it back up at the end of February and worked on it for 3 evenings. I decided to stitch the border first. I think I explained it in my last video. I don't know if it was someone on Flosstube or someone on Facebook, Instagram. They had said that once you finish stitching the border and the house, the rest of it goes really fast. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch the border and then work on the house and then do the rest. So here's my progress. I love working on this one. It's so beautiful. I love this border so much. I mean, I realize that it keeps you on your toes. It's kind of like your, imagine like a switchback mountain. That's what it's like. You're just constantly switching back and forth because the flower, it's not like the flowers and the leaves are not the same. It's like each one is, even though it's like the same flower, the way that she positions each flower is a little bit different. So it's not like you could just use the same flower and leaf motif and just repeat it. You have to pay attention to the way the flower is turned and the way that the leaves go. So each one changes. So you have to be paying attention because sometimes you might accidentally stitch the same flower over again and then you have to rip it out. Don't ask me how I know that, but I love working on this one. I love the flowers. It is such a fun border. I love the combination of the flower and the leaves with the linen. It's just so beautiful in person. I don't know how well it's showing up on camera, but I love working on this. So I am going to try to put it in the rotation a little bit more because I would like to try to get the border done in the next couple of months. So beautiful. So I'm stitching this on a piece of a 36 count 18 Century Rook by R R Reproductions, and I am using the called for threads, and I'm stitching it 1/2. Love it, love it, love it. So beautiful, so much fun. Okay, so I did have some finishes over the past 2 weeks. The first one was out of the book Sarah's House by Blackbird Designs. And I finished Flock of Friends. So I started this one on January 26th and I finished it on February 26th. And I did not mean to do that. I just opened up my book of days to write down the date of the finish and just happened to notice that that is, you know, I finished it exactly 1 month later. And here it is. So I stitched this on a piece of 36 count Vintage Country Mocha, and I use the called for overdyed threads that are listed. It's like a conversion listed on the chart, and I stitched it 1/2. I made a ton of mistakes on this piece, and you would think for something as small as it is that I would not, you know, maybe just have a few random ones, but I made a lot of mistakes, and that's okay. I love how it turned out. I just really love the earth tone colors. I just love the vintage vibe this gives off. It was a lot of fun to work on, and I cannot wait to get it framed. I was going to try to frame it before today's video, but it just never quite worked out, and I would have to cut something down for it. I thought I had a frame that would work out for it, but it's just a little bit too wide. So loved working on this one. So hopefully in my next video I will have it framed. But love it, love it. So much fun. And I think it will look good on my sampler wall that I am working on stuff for the other room. So I thought I would share some fully finishing that I did over the weekend. And first I'm going to show Ye Old Trench Bowl. So I have my 3 newest finishes right up front. And I did not intend on doing finishing over the weekend, but you know, I'd had a rough week and I kind of needed a win. So I decided to take some time and work on some finishing for today's video. The first thing that I worked on was Sweet Finch by Samplers Not Forgotten. And I think I originally stitched this and finished it in the spring of 2020 or 21. It's been waiting a crazy long time for me to get to it and work on it. Now, when I showed photos of my finish on Facebook and Instagram, I had a lot of you guys ask where you could purchase the chart. I just did a quick Google search for Sweet Finch by Samplers Not Forgotten, and I was able to find some kits at Cobweb Corner and Victorian Rose Needle Arts, I think. But just do a quick Google search, and there are still kits for this available. And that's how mine was a kit that was gifted to me. So one of the things that kind of made me hesitate to finish it was, you know, once you get it made into the small, you're supposed to take rickrack and then attach beads to it. And I was always a little bit afraid to do that. I wasn't really sure how to do it. I didn't want to wreck my piece. I didn't want it to look terrible. So I kind of stayed away from fully finishing it. But it actually was super easy and probably is now my favorite way to finish a small. So here it is. So the rickrack and the beads come in the kit, and you also get this safety pin, and this button came in the kit. So pretty much all of it came in the kit. And I had this left over, and I just decided to pin it. I just kind of like the way it looks. So I just went ahead and pinned it, and I really like how it turned out. So the small is stuffed with polyester fiber fill, and really it was way easier to put together than I thought. And then the backing fabric also came in the kit, but I love it. So I'm not sure what linen this is. I do know it is a 36 count Weeks Dye Works linen, and then the threads are also from Weeks Dye Works. I love it, love it, love it, and I'm so glad that I finished it, because this is one that, yeah, I always knew I needed to work on it. I always knew I needed to finish it, but I was always really afraid to, and it was just way easier than I thought. I was just pleasantly surprised with how very simple it was to assemble it. So, a lot of fun. This next one I showed in my last video. Janine had stitched it and sent it to me. And she had sent it to me because I wasn't going to be able to stitch any Valentines for the trench bowl. So she stitched a Valentine for me. And then she said she always sends her smalls off to be finished, and so she just went ahead and sent the stitching to me, and then just told me to finish it however. So I did the exact same thing. I took some rickrack and I took some beads from my stash, and I did the same technique as I did on Sweet Finch. I love it. So the rickrack was a bright pink, and I heavily sprayed it with Primitive Antiquing spray, and then I baked it in the oven to dry and then attached it. So I love it. And the beads were given to me, so they're vintage beads. So it's perfect. And then these buttons here were from the stash of buttons my grandma gave me, and I had so the safety pin actually came off of a sweater that because instead of, when you get a sweater or, you know, things nowadays, it usually comes with that safety pin that has the little kind of like the circle, and then that's usually where the tag hangs off of. So I've been saving them because they're perfect for hanging buttons off of finishing. So love it. Or for hanging buttons on for your finishing. So I love this. And she said she stitched this from a Country Rustic Prims pattern or chart. So love it. And then once again, I stuffed it with polyester fiber fill, and I used some Civil War reproduction fabric from my stash. So I love it. Love it. Very pleased with the finish. And then the last one that I did was from the book Ooh La La by Blackbird Designs, and it is called A Little Bit French Pin Roll. And I finished this one late summer, early spring. I think it was my morning stitch. And this is what it looks like. And I did not have, I think they used rickrack on the sides of it, and I did not have any, even some that I could dye to look similar to the color that they used. So I used some leftover silk ribbon, and I just sort of like ruched it on there. So the directions, you know, have you cut a 1/4 of an inch all the way around the stitched piece. You put some interfacing onto the back of it, and then you sew it together, and then you make, it's basically a yo-yo, even though it's not technically a yo-yo, but you take the piece of your leftover piece of linen, and then you make the sides of the roll, and then you attach them. So there's polyester fiber fill inside here. It's really, really stuffed, and then it's basically kind of like a drum finish. So just imagine it like this. So I love it. It's so cute. And so I used, this was a piece of 36 count Heritage by Picture This Plus, and the thread I stitched it with was Weeks Dye Works Baked Apple. And when I had, before I put on the silk ribbon, I spritzed it with the Primitive Antiquing Spray to kind of give it that, you know, aged vintage look. And then I attached the silk ribbon. So lots of fun, lots of fun. Definitely plan on making more pin rolls because I think they're just really cute. And it would be nice to have them, you know, especially if I don't have a drum, it would be nice to just kind of display them in different vignettes around the house. I just think they're really pretty. They're very delicate and just really cute. And then on the back side of the trench bowl holding the smalls up is Queen of the Needle by With Thy Needle and Threads. I stitched this one, I think in 2020 or 21. And I've shown this in various videos. This is one that kind of rotates in the trench bowl as I need, you know, there to be smalls in it. So I know you guys have seen this one before. The backing is Civil War reproduction from my stash. I think it's a Joe Morton. And then I have some vintage pins that came from my grandma's stash. And the last one is the, I believe it's Redbird Sampler by Heart and Hand, I think. And I've shown this one before, and I finished it in 2021. So love this month's trench bowl. But I definitely know that I need to work on getting some more Eastery themed smalls. So love it. And a previous finish is this one. So it was back here. And this is Madame Cottontail. And to fully finish this one, I followed a tutorial from Vonna. I'm not sure why it was I decided to do it this way. I think the original, if I remember, was a small that it was either framed. I don't think the chart had you finish it this way. It was finished a different way. And I don't know why I decided to do it this way, but I absolutely love it. And Vonna's tutorial was spot on. And I remember working on this one. I think it took me 2 evenings to do, but it was well worth it. And I'm sorry to say I don't remember what it is that I stitched it on or what threads that I used because I think for this particular one I might have stitched it in 2020 and I just used what I had from my stash. And the fabric on the back is Civil War reproduction from Mustache. But so cute. I love it. I love getting this one out. The last couple of years I've had it, and I always love when it's time to get it out. So lots of fun. I did get a little bit of Happy Mail over the past 2 weeks. The first items come from Catherine, and she had contacted me, said she had some stash she wanted to pass along, and I could either keep what I want or use them as giveaways. So she sent me this card. And the first one is Common Ground by Just Nan. And I have to confess, I've never seen this before. And I'm not very familiar with Just Nan. I mean, occasionally I hear her name come up on Flosstube, but I don't know that I've really looked into her designs. But the ones that Catherine sent me, I love them all. The next one is Summer by the Sea. I just love them. And there's linen in here and some threads. And Common Ground is fully kitted. And she told me it would be fully kitted. The next one is Autumn in the Country. I love this one. It also comes with linen, some threads and beads. Love it. The next one is Spring in the Tulips. So pretty. And this one, I believe also, I think there's some threads in there and some linen. And then the last one is Winter in the Forest. I really just love it. So I'm gonna have a really hard time deciding if I'm gonna be a glutton and keep them or give them away. But thank you so very much, Catherine. It was so sweet of you to send those to me. The next package came from Megan, and she had went to a quilting rummage sale and came across all of the patterns for the Civil War tribute quilt. And so she sent it to me to use as a giveaway. So for those of you who've been following my quilting adventures, you have known I've been working on the Civil War tribute. So this will be a upcoming in today's video giveaway. And thank you so much to Megan for sending that to me. And then the next little bit of happy mail came from Sharon, and she had been going through her stash and she came across an extra copy of The Houses of Hawkrun Hollow. So she sent it to me to use it also as a giveaway. So this will be available in today's video as a giveaway. So thank you so much, ladies, for sending all of those wonderful giveaway items to me, except for maybe these ones. I might be a glutton and keep. Speaking of giveaways, in my last video, I did have a giveaway, and I want to say thank you to everybody who played along. The question that I had asked was, if you could be a spring flower, which one would you be and why? And I said I would be a hydrangea. A lot of you guys also would be hydrangeas. There was also tulips, lily of the valley, daffodils, hyacinths, daisies, sunflowers, so many beautiful flowers. So I'm so happy that so many of you guys enjoyed the question, and I loved when you shared little bits of, why that particular flower, what it meant to you, what, special meaning it had to you. So thank you so much for sharing those stories for me. Loved reading through all of the comments. So if I call your name, what you will need to do is contact me via email, and I will put my contact information down below, and send me your address, and I will get your prize out in the mail to you. The first winner is for the Chicken Club Cornelius, and the winner is Jenny Dietz, Dietz. Number 2 is for the quilt pattern Luminaries, and the winner is Catherine Cerutti. It's Cerutti. I'm pretty positive I butchered that fabulously. Number 3 is for the Be Mine cross stitch by It's So Emma, and the winner is Glenda Gomez. Number 4 was for the Stackables January by It's So Emma, and the winner is Susan Spratling. And again, if I butchered your name, I apologize. And the last one is the Sweetheart Ornaments cross stitch by It's So Emma, and the winner is Felicia Watson. So congratulations to all of the winners. Again, if you can get a hold of me via email, send me your address. I will get your prizes out in the mail to you. And as always, thank you so very much for playing. And today's video also has a giveaway. So what you'll need to do to be eligible to win today's prizes are make sure you're a subscriber, like the video, and answer the question down below. There are three prizes up for grabs. So somewhere in your comment, you will just need to indicate which items you are interested in winning. And in my next video, I will announce the giveaway winners. So the first item is a full kit. This one was sent to me by a viewer. She wanted me to try to give it away a little bit closer to Easter. So I looked on the calendar to see when Easter is. It's kind of the beginning of April this year. So I thought I would show it in today, offer it up as today's giveaway and then announce it in my next video. And then that way it has enough time to get to the winner. And then if they want to start it on Easter, it will arrive in plenty of time. So number one is a full kit. The pattern is called Apostles' Creed by Heartstring Samplery. So you get the chart, you get the 36 count Vintage Country Mocha to stitch it on. And it also comes with all of the threads. So if you are interested in winning this, it is number one. Number two is the Houses of Hawkrun Hollow. So if you're interested in winning this one, it is number two. And number three, let me show you the cover of mine. Number three is for the patterns for the Civil War tribute quilt. So if you are interested in winning the patterns, they are number three. So the question that you will need to answer down below is, since this weekend is Nashville Needlework Market, have you pre-ordered anything? Or is there anything that caught your eye that you've added to your wish list? Answer it down below and indicate which items you are interested in winning. And in my next video, I will announce the winners. And as always, thank you so very much for playing along. Well, my cross-stitching friends, that is all the cross-stitching that I have to show and share in today's video. I am going to start talking about quilting next, so if that's not something you're interested in, this is a great stopping off point, and I will be back in 2 weeks. Thank you so very much for stopping by today, but now the quilts. Okay, so let's talk about quilts. So I have a few minutes before my husband and my son get home, so there will be a little bit of a pause. I do apologize. It's because I deleted like the first couple video segments earlier before my husband left, and I wouldn't have done that. There would not have been any sort of a pause. But, sometimes that just happens. I'm kind of one of those people that when I just hit like roadblock after roadblock, to me, it's just easy just to like blank slate and start over again. So that's kind of how today's video was. Quilts. So the quilt that is hanging up behind me is called the Pinwheel quilt. Sadly, I do not have a pattern for this specific quilt. As near as I can tell, it was from like a blog from many years back. I cannot take credit for assembling the block segments. They were assembled by Carol and Yvette. So they each had started their own quilt and then decided they fired it. So they boxed up each one of their finished quilt blocks and they sent it to me. And so I got to take all of their blocks and assemble it into the quilt you see today, and now I get to enjoy it forever. I absolutely love it. All of the fabrics are Civil War reproduction. They are gorgeous. They are scrumptious. I love this quilt so very much. It's just, there's not one block I look at and don't like. I love them all. I did post a photo of this yesterday on my Facebook page. A lot of interest in it. A lot of you guys were curious about the pattern. And, I had to let you know that I had no information on it, kind of explaining it. So later on that day, I was contacted by Diane, and she said that once upon a time, there was a quilt-along hosted through the Fat Quarter Shop called Little Ruby Quilt-Along. And so I went and I looked it up, and the quilt looks very similar. I mean, obviously the fabrics are different, but if you take this quilt and you take that quilt and you put them side by side, you could very easily manipulate that quilt to look like this one. So I will put a link to it down below if you're interested. I do know that you have to use rulers to cut the block out with, but from, you know, assembling all of the pieces together, yes, it would take you a little bit of time to do it, but it's so worth it in the end. I mean, it's a beautiful quilt, and I would definitely say give it a go if you're interested in it. And you know what you could do is you could just take you could save the photo that I posted on Instagram, on Facebook, and then that way you have like a reference between the two quilts, and you could very easily see the two. I mean, there's like solid areas, so it'll have the pinwheels going around, and then there'll be like a solid area. But you could just pop one of these in the solid area, and then just, you know, just, yeah, it would be very easy to manipulate that quilt to look like this one. So I'll put a link to it down below if you are interested in checking it out. So last video, a lot of you guys were really disappointed because I did not have any quilting to show. And it was just simply because I did not get a chance to work on anything. And to be honest, this video almost did not have a quilting segment to it. But luckily I was able over this past week to kind of squeeze in a little bit of quilting time. The quilt that I decided to work on is my Civil War Tribute Block of the Month. So I had been working on block number 6, which was called Battle of the Ironclads. So this one, I had all of the blocks cut out. I think I might have showed the one I had done, but I kid you not, this took, even when I worked on it, I would sit down, I would start working on it, and I would immediately get pulled away from working on it. And it was so frustrating. I almost thought it was cursed, but I finally was able to work on them. So you had to make 4 blocks, and here is one of 4. And each block took me way longer than it should have. And it was just because I would sit down, I would start working on it, and then I would have to go do something, and it would pull me away from it, and a lot of times I just never could get back to it that day. But I persevered. So I finished month 6 finally. Now I know when I started this year, my main goal was to get this quilt completed by May. I do not think that's going to happen. I think that I'm going to try now to shoot for the end of summer. Last night I did go ahead and cut out the first block for month 7. So this block is representing the siege at Vicksburg. I am not doing the block as pictured. I am doing the alternate block, which looks like this. Now I had a lot of people ask where you can get the alternate cutting directions, and if you Google a Civil War Tribute quilt block number 7, it should take you to the Homestead Hearth's website, where they have the page that lists corrections and alternate directions. If you have any problem, just let me know, and I will send you the link, or I will direct you, because I've been to the page a bunch now. So last night I decided to cut out the block, and I went ahead and put it together. So this is block 1 of 8, and they're all 12.5 inches unfinished. So basically when I get all 8 done, it will be like making an entire lap quilt. So I am hoping to squeeze in some time to work on this. I would like to try to get all 8 blocks done by the end of the month. Just because I think that would just be a really nice goal to shoot for. It gives me a full month to try to assemble all, the 7 remaining blocks. So hopefully I can accomplish that. It would be just a really good win if I could just make it all the way to, start April and I'm at block 8. I think the next block I only have to make 4. So I would like to try to shoot to get all these done by the end of March. Okay, so for some of the other sewing items, so I talked about this little bunny here a little bit earlier in the video. So the PDF pattern came from Liberty Creek Primitive. She has a variety of spring bunnies. She has snowmen, she has Santas, she has jack-o'-lanterns. She has all sorts of those type of prim style dolls, I guess. A lot of fun. She has like some other things that are not, you know, like bunny, doll, Santa related. There's like heart, and I think there's a couple of other things in her Etsy shop. Occasionally, she does have a sale where everything is 50 to 60% off. But all of her patterns are really wonderful, really easy to follow directions, and I'll put a link to her Etsy shop down below. This bunny right here, I found it also on Etsy, and if I can think about it, I will find the pattern and link it. It was really easy to do. I made, I think 6 or 7, and they're just kind of hung all around the tree. This little egg that is up here, I just drew that out and just took my knowledge of making, you know, the prim pieces and just applied it. So I painted it. Each one's a different color. So I have purple, pink, there's a mustard one, a blue one, a white one, a cream one. And when I got them all together and painted, I brushed them with the coffee stain, baked them, and then I did the same thing with the ornament hanger. It's just a piece of crochet thread, and I did the same thing where I soaked it in the coffee dye and then I baked it in the oven. And really, really cute. It was a fun weekend project. If you like this kind of stuff, I definitely would, you know, search on Etsy, because there's a lot of various ones that you can make either for your trees or just to display around your home. Okay, so I thought I would grab Fred, the husband, and Ethan got home. So I had to pause the video. And since I had to pause the video, I decided I would grab the Fredster and show him in my video. I tried to do it earlier, but he was not having any of it. So I did not show him last time. A lot of you guys miss seeing him. I do try to post pictures of him, especially if he's not going to be in the video. I try to post a picture of him, you know, somewhere in the video. But here he is, Mr. Rascal. He's about a week away from getting a haircut, so he's looking a wee bit scraggly. Yesterday was a really nice day here, so we took him to the park, and he was living his best life. He loved it. I've never seen him so excited to go somewhere. And then when we got there, he was just vibrating with excitement. So the weather here has just been, you know, so cruddy. We haven't been able to, you know, take him on any walks or do anything. And where we live is just mud. So, but yeah, it's usually like raining or windy. And so it'll be nice when the weather changes and we get some nice days where we can, you know, take him to the park or go to the beach or do something like that. So as far as everything that I have shown in today's video or talked about, I will have it listed down below in the description box if you are interested. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below, and I will either answer them directly or answer it in my next video. I appreciate you so much for stopping by today and hanging out with me. It's so wonderful, and I just really appreciate all of your love and support. The plan for me will just be continuing to continue on. In my next video, I will have some other cross-stitch pieces to show. I do plan on doing some framing over the next 2 weeks. I hope to have those to show you. Don't forget to enter the giveaway. And if you've made it this far and you're not a subscriber, I would absolutely, if you enjoyed today's video, I'd absolutely love it if you would subscribe. I do upload every 2 weeks, so I will be back in 2 weeks. If you would like to see what I am up to in between my videos, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. I do have a Facebook page called Pumpkin Hollow Quilting, and I will put a link to both of those down below as well. Hope you guys have a great couple of weeks, and I will see you all again soon. Bye-bye.